Someone whispered your name across borders, carrying it to healers who see beyond the veil. At every threshold, a candle was lit, not just for you, but to shield every soul in the room from a secret that promised to awaken more than just memories. Candlelight flickers in the quiet room, making shadows leap and dance along peeling wallpaper. The deep hush is alive, thick as velvet. A worn slip of dark vellum lies on the table, your name written carefully in midnight ink. Hannah leans forward, hair pulled back tight, her fingers tracing the first letter. She whispers, "Why does it feel like the air changed just now?" Jonas watches from across the table, uneasy. He draws his coat tighter. "That's just nerves," he says, but his eyes dart to the corners, watching where light can't quite reach. Stillness swells between them. Anna exhales slowly and passes the note to Jonas. "Every time I touch it, there's this, I don't know, weight, like it's holding something inside. Does anyone else feel that?" Her voice is hushed, hope warring with suspicion. Jonas swallows, refusing to look at the note too long. "Why did it have to be your name? Out of everywhere it could land." His hand hovers, not wanting to fold or bend the vellum. "It means something. I know it does." The candle on the windowsill burns low, flame shivering as Hannah takes the note again. "I had a dream about fire last night. A name burning, not screaming, just glowing." For a second her eyes shine, then she looks away, hiding the tremor in her hands. Narration wraps between them. Memories swirl where silence deepens. In the hush, every breath feels borrowed. The note grows heavier as it moves, as if the ink has soaked up unseen prayers. The room's boundaries tighten. Every memory, every fear seems drawn to this single act. You realize it's not just your story now, but something reaching backward and forward at once. Jonas gives a nervous laugh, glancing at the shadows. Sometimes protection looks like secrets. Sometimes it looks like trust. The candle's glow shifts, painting new symbols across the walls. Each face is changed by the moment, still searching, still uncertain, but unwilling to let go. The last thing moving is Hannah's hand, her thumb brushing lightly over your name. She looks up, barely above a whisper. Maybe the name itself remembers. The flame flares for an instant, then settles, leaving everything in a new kind of quiet. A river glimmers under moonlight. The edges of the sealed note catch the glow as it's pressed into Maya's hand. She shrugs the hood tighter and steps into the waiting boat. "Why does this feel heavier every mile?" Maya mutters, breath clouding in the icy air. The boatman just grins, tapping a wax seal on the package. "Some names carry old debts. Yours hums like something unfinished." His fingers leave a print in the soft wax, warm scent of cedar rising as the package changes hands. Hours later, on a winding road out of town, Arav tears a strip of sage, tucking it around the scroll. He murmurs, "Funny, never liked rituals. Now I can't even ride the train without thinking someone's watching." The driver glances back. "Not someone," he says, voice gentle, "but something from before any of us." Every courier touches the note like it might spark. Far from home, Lena opens the envelope for a moment, tracing the writing with her thumb. "Who protected the name before me?" she breathes. Her friend Elian answers, voice barely audible. "Sometimes you shield a stranger so you don't have to shield yourself." The echo of burning sage follows them as they slip under a half-shuttered bazaar, shadows pooling at their feet. Walking uphill, Jonas wipes sweat from his brow and laughs for courage, the air thick with melting candle wax. I never believed in omens, not really. But this, he shakes the package lightly. Feels like I'm being listened to, or maybe warned. At the next crossing, a woman hands him a fresh bundle of cedar. Keep this close, she whispers, just in case you start to notice who's waiting for your answer. Every stop leaves new scents stitched into the wrapping. Earth, smoke, fire, and something sharper, almost metallic. No two places feel the same, but each candle lit for the next leg of the journey burns with determination, flickering in alleyways and open squares. By nightfall, the weight in each courier's chest matches the weight of the name in their hand. At the final crossing, Maya stands silent. I wonder if it's faith that protects us, or the fear beneath it. Her eyes flick to the far horizon, where blue smoke coils into the twilight. The name waits quietly, ready for the next threshold. A gust of cold air slips through the cracks of the mountain temple as the stone door swings shut. The walls seem to breathe, holding centuries of secrets inside their silent weight. Tashi stands near the altar, shoulders tense beneath his faded robes. He holds the name, inscribed on dark vellum, with a respect that borders on fear. He brushes a gloved hand across the stone slab, lips barely moving. Every name carries a story, but this one, his voice trails off. The flicker of doubt is clear in his eyes. He places the paper at the altar's center and reaches for a deep blue candle. Breath visible in the chill, he hesitates a heartbeat before striking the flint. As the wick catches, a nervous acolyte, Rinzin, approaches, rubbing her arms. Will lighting the candle keep it out? She asks, voice shivering as much from the cold as from what they both feel. Tashi gives a measured nod, drawing an ancient sigil in the dust with his finger. Ward, clarify, guide, he chants, each word in a tongue only these stones still understand. The flame burns uncertainly at first, a winding blue wisp dancing to a rhythm only the wind knows. Glyphs drawn on the altars, surface shimmer faintly, as if recalling old awakenings. Rinzin watches the shifting shadows, eyes searching for shapes that never quite solidify. I dreamed last night, she says, fingers tightening around the carved talisman at her neck. A silver line crossed my path. The rocks in the valley whispered, "Let no unguarded word pass your lips." She looks to Tashi, seeking confirmation. He responds slowly, "Sometimes the mountain speaks louder than any oracle. We just have to listen before we act." Snow churns against the windows, pressing the darkness closer. In another corner, Lama Dorje gazes at the flame, his hands folded. Every blue light means the veil is thin, he murmurs, voice steady. Our work is not just protection. It's remembering that we stand on the edge of something vaster than this temple, or this life. The air thickens with incense, tang of juniper sharp in each breath. Tashi draws another protective diagram in salt, the pattern glowing faintly in the wavering blue light. Silence grows heavier as each movement becomes deliberate, charged. The candle flares, brightening enough for just a moment to cast shimmering glyphs on the far wall, then steadies, leaving the marks ghostly but present. Rinzin traces her own breath, slow and careful. Do you think the person who sent this knows what it means? She asks. Tashi's lips form a thin, uncertain line. They may feel the call, he says, but few recognize the weight until they see what follows them. The flame bends as the wind sighs through loose stones overhead. The scent of melted wax mingles with the cold, and with each chant, the glyphs shift tones. A blue so deep it never looks the same twice. Lama Dorje finally rises, He presses both palms to the altar, closes his eyes and whispers, "May those who carry this name walk without fear, but never without wonder." His words hang in the air, a final chord before silence settles once more. Outside, the wind gathers, carrying the ritual's memory to distant peaks. Within the blue shadow, the name waits, changed by the guardians who have spoken for it. The candle flickers, casting the last glyph in light both haunting and protective, a sign meant for those willing to see beyond the surface. The hum of the rainforest pulses beneath every heartbeat, thick, alive, pressing close in the dusk. Lucia, the curandera, gathers the woven basket against her hip and signals for quiet. "Bring the paper here," she calls, voice strong with laughter beneath its warning. Light from the gold candle pools around her, painting warm, shifting patterns across the faces gathered beneath the palms. Miguel hands the slip of paper over, sweat beading on his brow. "Does it matter where the name came from?" he asks, blinking against the gold light. Lucia grins, her hands never pausing as she threads palm leaves into a loose braid. "Every name finds its own way home, Miguel. It's the story it carries that matters." Raúl kneels beside the small altar ringed in cracked pottery. "You sure we should offer it here?" His fingers hover above the smoke wafting from burning copal. "The ancestors, they don't always answer kindly." Lucia's expression softens. "Sometimes the jungle protects, sometimes it tests. Either way, we witness." She sets the palm braid around the name and lifts the golden candle high. As she places it on the altar, the flame bends, sending shadows racing across the green canopy. The warmth sinks into the group, a counterpoint to the thick, damp air. From the shadows, Isabella starts a drumbeat, steady and low. Its rhythm draws breath from the earth, calling roots, memories, something older than the path that brought anyone here. Lucia begins to hum, a song that sounds ancient yet hopeful. "Hold your hearts open," she instructs, "and let gratitude guide you." Faces around the altar glow in flickers of gold, worry folding into wonder. Miguel rubs a charm between his palms, voice shaky but determined. "My mother said, sometimes protection chooses us, not the other way around." Lucia laughs gently, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Then thank her spirit, and be ready to say yes." She fans smoke upward, sending tendrils spiraling toward the darkening sky, her chant growing bolder. Raúl bows his head, letting the drumming fill the silence. "If this is a test, I hope we're not the first to find the answer." He glances sideways, catching Isabella staring past the candle, eyes wide, as if just catching a shape that slipped beyond the light. The jungle humidity thickens, leaves tremble overhead, and a sudden breath of wind lifts the corners of the basket, revealing etched stones and faded feathers inside. The gold candle's flame stretches, soaring higher for a moment, illuminating the clearing in a shimmer that feels almost like protection taking shape. The song softens, but its intention lingers. Lucia presses the name against her forehead and closes her eyes. "Let our caution and our joy travel together tonight," she whispers, voice low and firm. "May whatever seeks be met by more than just fear." The group holds their breath, watching the shadows curl and swirl as the rhythm fades. Somewhere in the canopy, a nightbird calls, sharp, insistent, unresolved. As dusk deepens, faces gather closer around the golden flame, quietly changed, each person carrying the hint of a pledge and a question that waits in the glow for whoever dares answer next. A chorus of drum beats rolls through the village, the sound steady and grounding, felt more in the bones than heard with the ears. Thick air carries the tang of red clay and sweat. Elders gather in a semicircle around a mat woven with symbols, their hands resting heavy with age and story. The candle at the center is stark white, its tip brushed deep crimson. The flame's steady glow splashes gold and scarlet ribbons across the etched bronze and carved wood of ancestral talismans, making their forms shimmer and blur. Kwabena, the healer, cradles the slip of paper between two fingers stained by clay and kola. His voice is grave but welcoming. We honor this name as we honor the blood and memory of our kin. Let every word spoken here be blessed. He kneels, shaping a small mound of red clay and pressing the name into it with care. His movements are deliberate, as if marking the boundaries between this world and the next. Amma, the youngest, steps forward with a bowl brimming with kola nuts. Her eyes scan the elders, seeking silent approval before she places 3 nuts at the paper's edge. For clarity, for witness, for fate, she murmurs, her words barely louder than the drums. A candle is set alight. Ni, the eldest, lights it with a match struck against a stone. He holds the flame near, watching as the wax melts, trickling red atop the white. Light for the journey, blood for remembrance, he intones, and the rest murmur their assent. The flicker reflects from talismans, a tiny mask here, a beaded necklace there, making the air dance with ancestral presence. Kwabena scatters cowrie shells onto a dyed mat, the shells clattering, landing face up, then rolling unexpectedly one by one until the pattern is clear. He leans in, studying their arrangement. A path protected on 3 sides, but open at the heart, he announces, nodding for blessings to follow. One by one, elders raise their hands, palms facing the center. The oldest chants a blessing in U, a rhythm of syllables that rolls from throat to chest to ground. It's not for explanation, just resonance. Others echo with different dialects, Ashanti and Ga, each layering protection in their own melody. Their voices twist with the smoke, rising, answering the candle's glow. An old man steps from the shadow, trailing a worn strip of woven cloth. He lays it gently over the paper, burying the name beneath its tight weave. We keep secrets close to the heart and close to the ancestors, he whispers. Amma presses her fingertips to the cloth, eyes squeezed shut. May every word under this cloth walk safely between worlds. There's a fresh crackle in the fire pit, as if something unseen stirs. Kwabena presses the mound of clay and kola nuts near the fire, steam rising as he incants a final prayer. Let the ancestors keep vigil. Let the name be shielded from wandering spirits and human envy alike. Our work is not just for one. It echoes through kin and land. The drums pause, then resume softer, like a warm heartbeat resolving into the evening. Amma opens her eyes. Do you feel them? The presence? She whispers to Kwabena. He only smiles, gaze far beyond the hut. For a moment, every talisman and shell gleams in the meeting of flame and memory. As the ritual draws to a quiet close, the candle flickers. In its flickering, a hint of crimson paints the walls, and one shell lands perfectly, upright, a sign or just luck, but nobody speaks the question aloud. A hush returns, as if the ancestors themselves exhale, the protection woven, unfinished, and eternal. The cold air slips through ancient stones, bringing a faint pine aroma as dusk deepens outside the small cottage. Shadows gather along the rough walls, drawn closer by a silence that feels stitched with memory. At a battered wooden table, Genevieve moves with a careful grace. her every motion shaped by solitude and something heavier, nameless, that presses in with the night. She pours a trail of coarse salt in a slow spiral around your name, written in inky strokes on old parchment. Her fingers hesitate at each turn, the salt glistening faintly in the burgundy candle's first uncertain light. The room feels both sheltering and haunted, the ritual space marked by a stillness that magnifies every heartbeat. Each line, a barrier, Genevieve breathes, voice carrying not quite to the corners of the cottage. She gazes into the curve of salt, her eyes searching the distance for answers. Who do we shield? From what shadows? Her hand lingers, the spiral unbroken. She pauses, listening to the creak of wood and the rise of the wind beyond shuttered glass. So many passed before us, she murmurs, brush of sorrow in her tone, carrying prayers we might never know. In the wavering light, her shadow stretches across the wall, echoing the stories of lost travelers and unanswered hopes. A chill moves across the room, a presence felt, not seen, and Genevieve gathers her shawl closer, shoulders rounded against memories too old to name. She sets your name gently beneath a weathered cross, the wood darkened by years of silent touch. Lighting the burgundy candle, she lets the flame dance, deep red glowing along the edges of the spiral. The path is thin tonight, she says quietly, almost confiding. The veil between what protects and what is threatened, always narrower than we think. As she closes her eyes in hushed prayer, the salt catches the candlelight, sparkling like frost, casting shifting rings along the cold stone floor. Within the spiral, all is still. The pine scent deepens as if the old forest itself listens at the door. Genevieve stays kneeling, the silent ritual incomplete, her mind circling the same questions that hover over every watcher and wanderer. A faint echo, part wish, part warning, hangs in the air as the night deepens. Who must be protected, and what, exactly, are we shielding ourselves from? The spiral holds its shape. The candle's flame sighs. The story waits, a mystery unbroken, lingering in the shadows and salt for the next seeker to answer. The city hums softly in the deep midnight, voices low, windows glowing gold. Cairo alive with promise and memory. A narrow alley leads to a tiled courtyard. The door opens on a scent of cardamom and sweet smoke, drifting from a glowing brazier. In the center, a tall emerald candle stands, with a flame flickering green and gold, casting shifting patterns across the cool mosaic floor. Nadir, clothed in flowing white, unrolls the slip of parchment and passes it to Fahrad, who cups it gently in his palm. It's come far, Fahrad murmurs, eyes lingering on your name inscribed in uneven ink. Far enough to draw more than just eyes. Tonight, we let the city listen. He offers a small, uncertain smile to the gathering circle, a dozen worshippers of all ages, each holding prayer beads, eyes shining with expectation. Nadir raises his hand. The others hush. We are asked to protect this name, not with silence, but with the breath of prayer and the wheel of devotion. The emerald candle is lit, the scent of warm resin mingling with cinnamon in the air. The group begins to spin gently in unison, movement echoing centuries of Sufi ritual. Layla, shawl drawn tight over her hair, watches the green flame and whispers, "My grandmother used to say, a candle burns brightest for names that need guarding. This one," she glances up, "brings a different heat. Do you feel it?" Satish, old but spry, begins the verse. Let every heart open, let every sorrow rise and fall away on smoke. His voice threads through the circle, hands tracing slow spirals in the shadows, following the path the candle paints on their palms and faces. The city outside pulses with distant horns, a call to prayer rising in another part of Cairo, each sound folding gently into the group's melodic chant. Someone scatters saffron and clove on the coals, flavors thickening the vibrant air. As the group recites, their voices meld, no longer individual, now forming a living shield, woven together for your safety. Moments stretch, melodies turning, prayers evolving into song. Children in the back sway, eyes fixed on the green candlelight skipping across the tiles, flickers of hope and unspoken questions hiding in their smiles. The dervishes spin faster, skirts flaring, hands now sweeping wider, drawing energy from earth and sky. Each time your name is spoken aloud, there's a subtle tremble through the floor, a sense that something greater is bearing witness. Layla locks eyes with Nadir, her words uncertain. What are we really protecting them from? Or are we being protected as well? Nadir's lips curve slightly. Every vigil is a double blessing. The candle guards both ends of the thread. We never fully know which is which. A sudden gust slips through the courtyard, making the flame bend low and dance along the floor. Light scatters, rolling green across mosaic patterns and up the walls. Fahrad presses his hand over the name, whispering an old blessing. Let this ink become a boundary. Let this candle burn a path through shadow. His voice is soft, but threaded with conviction. As the last prayer rises, the chanting slows, smoke curling toward the star-strewn sky. The city's breath is palpable, full of gratitude and longing. The emerald candle burns steady, its flame tall and assured. Outside, the street grows quiet, and within the courtyard, a hush lands like a secret. The ritual is complete, but the warmth of the gathering lingers. In that green-lit sanctuary, the meaning of protection is transformed, no longer merely a shield, but a song threaded into the heart of Cairo night. Every voice and step now part of your continuing story. The red desert breathes with ancient memory, wind hissing low through brittle grass and scattered stones. Beneath the vast sky, Yindi kneels at the center of an ochre circle traced by her own steady hand. She smooths a palmful of warm clay over a sun-bleached stone, eyes intent as she marks a symbol that has lived in her people's stories longer than language. Her fingers pause, feeling the land's slow pulse, before pressing the folded paper, your name inked across its face, into the center of the painted earth. Every mark is a memory, Yindi says, her voice woven with the land's quiet authority. She glances up at her nephew, Jara, who stands watch at the edge of the circle. This is not just a ritual, it's a telling. The country listens, even when we forget how. Jara crouches beside her, picking up a squat clay candle inscribed with tiny cross-hatchings. Nan, you think the spirits will notice someone from so far away? His question drifts on the wind, uncertain but open. Yindi smiles, dabbing ochre across his wrist. All names are children of the dreaming. Distance means nothing to the land. The wind speaks for us. She sets the candle among a ring of painted stones, striking a match on her heel. The flame kindles, slow but stubborn, growing as the wind quickens. Ember light crawls over ochre shapes, lizards, loops, handprints radiating from the center. Jara presses his palm to the earth, feeling the heat of the clay and the shadow of old stories moving beneath the crust. You ever get scared, calling on old things? He asks, eyes fixed on the trembling flame. Yindi shakes her head, gaze far beyond the horizon. Fear is a warning, not a stop sign. We walk careful, not empty. She glances up, searching the sky for a wedge of black cockatoos. The wind rises, rattling through spinifex, tugging at the edge of her shawl. The smoke from the candle twines upward, weaving with the dust, heading east toward the morning. Yindi crouches lower, whispering, "Let this name find its place in the stories. Let it be shielded, not hidden. Let the dreaming hold what we cannot carry alone." Each word falls like a pledge, seeping into the ground as surely as rain. Narration settles in the pause. The stones glow beneath ember light, ochre prints shining. For a moment, the energy is neither ancient nor new. It is simply shared, a current that unites breath, fire, name, and land. Jara rises, looking across the flat, endless distance. "What happens now?" he asks, just above the hush of ruffled grass. Yindi closes her eyes, letting the earth respond before she answers. "Now, we wait, and we listen. The stories will tell us if we pay attention." Not every answer comes today. A final gust scatters fine red dust through the stones, spiraling the candle's smoke toward the horizon. The names and marks left behind remain bright and untamed, woven into dreamtime, carried by wind, alive in the watcher's silence. A bell's quiet tone ripples across the early morning, mingling with a gentle breeze in the Kyoto garden. Sakura petals drift, pale pink against the vivid blue sky, slowly settling on still water that mirrors their journey. Shun, the healer, moves with an almost invisible grace among the stones that line the pond's edge. He pauses, examining your name written carefully on a slip of fine washi paper. He studies the page, voice barely more than breath. Every name, every soul, carries a sound unique to itself. Yours. Shun sets it down among the river stones, asks for peace, not struggle. He closes his eyes and lets the wind stir the paper, aligning it with the curve of a smooth black stone. Across the water, the reflection of a slender white-blue candle flickers, unbroken. Aya, an apprentice, kneels nearby, hands folded respectfully in her lap. "Sensei, is it enough to simply place the name?" she asks quietly. Shun responds without looking up. "Harmony comes not by force, but by asking the world to listen. The stones, the water, our words, it all moves together." His hands gently trace a spiral in the sand beside the pond, a pattern that echoes the balanced flow of the garden. A pair of sparrows dart overhead. A fresh gust stirs fresh petals, spinning them above the pond before some settle on your name, others on the polished stones. Aya straightens, gently picking up a blossom and setting it beside the candle. Will the candle's flame carry the wish? She wonders aloud. Shun smiles, lighting the white-blue candle. The flame's glow is soft, trembling a little as if bowing to the world around it. He begins a slow, measured chant, each syllable stretching out like the surface of the pond after a single drop. Aya's eyes close, body becoming still, breathing in time with the music of language and the whisper of moving water. He continues, changing the chant's tone ever so slightly. Let all disturbance become calm, all shadows given space beside the light. The candle's reflection flickers, doubled on the clear water. Aya places a river stone beside the paper. She speaks. Balance is quiet, strength subtle. Sometimes the gentlest wave protects better than a wall. Shun nods, voice gentle. Let the name be shielded by clarity, not by fear. Silence settles between them, not empty but filled with a peace that seems born from centuries. Dew clings to Aya's sleeve. The air smells of rain and blooming trees. As the ritual draws to a close, the slip with your name rests beside the gathered stones, the candle burning steadily, mirrored perfectly in the pond. A single cherry blossom lands on the candle's rim, then floats free, spinning gently in reflected light. Aya watches it go, smile touching her lips. So much protection from so little movement, she whispers. Birdsong rises as the sky brightens, silent wishes woven into daylight. The garden breathes, holding your name in serene, watchful balance. Candlelight spills over the circle, coloring the old brick walls in shades of amber and deep blue. Every chair in the loft pulls up close. In the center of the group, your name, handwritten and already carrying the memory of distant lands, rests on a cloth embroidered with patterns borrowed from a dozen cultures. The air is thick with the scent of melted wax and something more. Anticipation, a gentle tangle of nerves and hope. Marina, sunlight in her hair, lights the first candle, red as in the West African ritual. We begin with the heart, she says quietly, her hand steady though her voice wavers. Shun, visiting from across the ocean, bows and adds a river stone beside the flame, a gesture of harmony slipped in from Kyoto. Around them, hands move with respectful care. An ochre mark on a small rock, a copper thread from a bracelet laid gently beside a wax-dipped feather. A soft laugh breaks the tension as Luis knocks over the blue candle. Sorry, he grins, cheeks flushing. Every color's covered now. Clumsy counts as tradition somewhere, right? Laughter ripples through the circle, dissolving the last hint of formality. Danny holds a palm over the gold candle, voice raw but sincere. I always thought rituals were magic until I realized it's the people who carry the real charge. Their words hang, and several others nod, absorbing the truth and comfort in the idea that unity is stronger than any symbol alone. An older woman, hands shaking only slightly, pins a single safety pin to the cloth. In my mother's house, when thunder frightened us, she'd pin these to our pajamas and whisper that nothing could pass the family bond. Her eyes water, but her smile grows wide as someone squeezes her hand, no words needed. Across from her, Elijah reads a line from a prayer in Arabic, then hesitates, lowering his head. I never felt safe in groups, but tonight, with everyone's stories and symbols, it's different. Braver, maybe. He presses a bent coin into the pile. Others offer small items, a braid of lavender, a tiny jade figurine, a folded slip of red silk. The candles cast swirling patterns, amber pooling across loose papers and blue painting gentle halos around faces. Gentle laughter mingles with the catch of a tear as someone recounts a failed protection charm. Another shares a blessing from a distant grandmother, and a third admits, I never brought a symbol, only a wish. Is that enough? The group answers in the hush. Of course, of course. As each tradition finds its patch in the quilt of the circle, vulnerability unlocks something deeper than ceremony. The group's attention fixes on your name only for a moment before joining in a single, long breath, exhaling fear, drawing in comfort. The unity of strangers becomes a shield, a testament that protection sometimes rises from shared presence, not private ritual. A soft chime echoes through the room, signaling the formal end. Yet no one moves to leave, the warmth holding everyone in a gentle, open tension. Hands cover hands. Some sit back and simply breathe, eyes shut, letting the glow sink in. Tonight, every story, every symbol, every lesson carried into this gathering twines into a new kind of bond. The city hums below, but above, in this sanctuary of light and laughter and honest doubt, unity protects in ways words never could. What tradition or symbol would you use for protection? Tell us your idea below and become part of the story's next chapter. A hush drapes itself over the group as the last chime fades. Candle flames linger in every eye, throwing restless shadows onto the walls, a dance that quietly provokes reflection. The question circles: why a candle always? Why did every healer, separated by oceans and language, answer the arrival of your name with fire? Luis breaks the silence first, his voice faint but honest. When I was small, my grandfather told me a candle was the only thing that could keep spirits from wandering too close. Not to scare them, but to let them know someone's watching. He glances around, meeting glances, inviting confession. Aya sits cross-legged in the flickering light, considering her own story. My mother never let us say a prayer without setting a lamp by the window. She said it made a doorway. The right ones could pass, but trouble stopped at the glow. She runs a hand along the center of the room, as if tracing that invisible threshold. Elijah nods at her words, adding, "When you write a name and leave it with a candle, it feels like the world is being asked to choose. Do you let something in, or do you keep something out?" He trails off, the tension thickening as the idea lands. Narration slips in, gentle and wary. In the candle's shimmer, it becomes clear. The flame is neither just a beacon nor a barrier. It stands at the border. It both welcomes and warns, asking unseen forces to show their intent. All through history, lamps have been lit for birth and death, promise and memory. Now, with each ritual, the same silent question rises. Where is the name meant to go? Who or what is listening on the other side? Marina's hand hovers over the gold candle, her fingers trembling. "Maybe it's not about protection at all," she says quietly. "Maybe it's about being witnessed, by people, by ancestors, by whatever walks between our words." She looks up, guilt and awe mingling in her expression. Maybe we're lighting the way not just for the name, but for ourselves, to see what we're really asking for. A gentle current passes through the group, as if everyone feels the border touch them for an instant. There's fear here, fear that what's been set in motion may invite something uncertain. But there's also wonder, that the mere act of calling a name and lighting a flame might open a path for meaning, healing, or awakening. No answer comes, only a quiet realization that candles have always marked the thin line between what the world accepts and what it keeps veiled. The scene closes on everyone absorbed in thought. The candles burn lower, their light gentler but no less mysterious. A hush as the truth sinks in. A hush settles across the group, gentle but deep, a realization quietly rising as the candles burn lower. Shadows stretch, candlelight flickers, and all eyes drift to the pool of flame in the center. The air rests, tense with an unspoken truth seeking its voice. Marina speaks first, almost hesitant. "It's strange, isn't it? Everywhere this name has gone, a candle followed. It's like a rule no one had to teach." Her hand lifts, shading her eyes from the trembling amber glow. Across the circle, Elijah fiddles with his lighter, then looks up, his voice barely above a whisper. "My grandmother said you can't face the dark with empty hands. You have to bring a spark with you, even if you're not sure who or what you're meeting." Aya glances at the wax pooled around her candle's base. "We light them for protection, but maybe it's not just defense. Maybe it's to let the world know someone is watching, that the name isn't alone, even when it's sent into the unknown. Her fingers brush the rim of a blue glass holder, attention caught by the reflection that shivers up her arm. Luis moves a candle close, his face thrown half in golden light, half in shadow. Where I'm from, you light a lamp before telling your secrets, so the good spirits hear, but so do the ancestors. Fire makes every word matter. It's never just about seeing, it's about being seen. The narrator's tone slips between voices, weaving their doubts and wonder. Each candle has become a border, a marker not only between danger and safety, but between prayer and challenge, hope and memory. Lighting it means asking all at once to be protected, to be found worthy, to be remembered. Through centuries, this has been the role of flame, a passageway, a quiet test. A slow realization hangs in the silence. Sometimes our names are keys, and the candle's job is not to shield them, but to show the shapes they cast in a darkened world. What crosses that threshold isn't always the same, and what we ask for might change as we watch the light shimmer. The group sits still, no rushing to finish, each drawn into their own thread of meaning. The last word is spoken in that hush, not an answer, but a question folded into the silence. A hush as the truth sinks in. Wax pools around the last candle stubs, faint glimmers shaking in the dying light. All across the world, echoes of the journey linger, remnants of ritual, quiet songs, and names that refuse to vanish. The final moments belong to reflection. The sense that every oath sworn over fire or salt was not just for one person, but for anyone whose fate brushes mystery. A chill breath stirs as the protagonist sits among scattered candles, noticing how each stub carries traces of names, some their own, some whispered from other corners of the earth. There's a comfort in this shared burden, a warmth in realizing that protection does not end at borders or spoken language. For every flame once lit for your journey, another waits, tended by hands you'll never meet. Thoughts spiral back. To think, somewhere across the ocean, a stranger kindled a light for my name, not even knowing my face. The words burn quietly in the mind. Maybe the act itself is enough, a promise that, when my own turn comes, I'll offer the same. A sense of gratitude rises, mingling with responsibility. Soft light glows above the candle stubs, as if names still hover, lifted by the memory of what's been risked and given. The ritual is unfinished, the connection unbroken. Holding space for others becomes not a duty, but a privilege, an exchange that circles back again and again. In that hush, the story lands not as an ending, but as a new question. If every name can become a portal, and every candle an oath, who will you light a flame for in your journey? Has anyone ever done something spiritual for your sake? How did it change you? Share your story below. The next spark might begin with your words. City lights blur beneath a drifting night sky, their reflections soft on damp asphalt. Far above, the world moves steady and silent. A single candle flickers from a windowsill, one small fire shining in the shadows, refusing to disappear. Its glow pulses quietly, witness to 1,000 unspoken hopes, a lone ember calling out beyond the glass. Every moment of this journey lingers. The rituals, woven from distant mountains, jungles, deserts, gardens, and city circles, have drawn a tapestry stronger than fear, brighter than the unknown. Together, they reveal something simple and rare, that real resilience is born not alone, but in the invisible ties between hearts, in the courage to care, even when answers are distant. You might find yourself standing at a new threshold now, holding a match, a question, a memory whispered at dawn. The candles of this story may gutter and fade, but their warmth remains, a promise, an invitation. The meaning of protection slips out of old words and into a present tense. Not only are you guarded by others, but your own light may guide a kindred stranger. Pause for a heartbeat. Feel the quiet gravity of those who have journeyed with you, near and far, seen and unknown. Tonight, you are both a witness and spark. If this tale inspired you, subscribe and be part of the next ceremony. And tell us, what mystery do you wish the world would embrace? Your voice may be the thread that weaves the next story into the night.